The warning signs. Commander Rex stood on the bridge of the alien vessel Void Seeker, watching the star charts flicker with warnings. Red zones marked the edge of known space, where galactic maps simply ended with a single notation: human territory. Entry forbidden. The crew around him whispered in their native tongue. Captain Vex, a tall blue-skinned alien with 4 arms, approached the display with visible concern. "Commander, the trade routes have been blocked for 3 cycles now. Our cargo ships cannot reach the outer rim colonies." Rex nodded grimly. He had heard the stories, passed down through generations of spacefaring races. Humanity had appeared suddenly 200 years ago, claiming a small sector of space. At first, the Galactic Council had laughed. One species, barely past nuclear technology, demanding territory from an alliance of thousands of worlds. Then the first expedition had been sent to negotiate with these newcomers. The massive fleet of 50 warships had crossed into human space. Only one ship returned, carrying a simple message: "We warned you." "Sir," called out Navigator Tom from his station, "we're receiving a transmission from the border beacon." The hologram activated, showing a human female in a plain military uniform. Her voice was calm but carried an edge that made the alien crew step back instinctively. "This is Border Station Alpha. You are approaching human space. Turn back now or face the consequences. This is your only warning." Captain Vex looked at Rex with confusion. "They cannot be serious. We outnumber them 1,000,000 to 1. Their technology is primitive compared to ours." Rex remembered the reports from the survivors of that first expedition. Ships that moved faster than anything in the galaxy. Weapons that could crack planets. Humans who fought with a fury that terrified even the warrior races. "Captain," Rex said slowly, "perhaps we should consider alternate routes." But Vex's pride was already wounded. "No. We are traders, not warriors, but we will not be bullied by a single species. Set course for the human border." As their ship moved forward, Rex noticed something strange on the sensors. Space itself seemed to shimmer ahead of them, as if reality was being bent. The stars looked different, distorted somehow. "Captain," Tom called out, his voice shaking, "I'm reading massive energy signatures ahead. Something's wrong with spacetime itself." Vex ignored the warning. "Maintain course." That's when they saw it. A massive structure appeared as if materializing from nothing. A space station the size of a small moon, bristling with weapons that defied known physics. Around it, smaller ships moved in perfect formation, their hulls gleaming with technology that shouldn't exist. The human voice came again, but this time it was different. Colder. "You were warned. You chose to ignore that warning. Now you will learn why our borders are respected." Rex watched in horror as space around their ship began to fold in on itself. The stars twisted into spirals, and gravity seemed to lose all meaning. Their advanced shields, capable of deflecting planet-killer weapons, failed in seconds. "What are they doing to us?" Vex screamed as his ship was pulled toward the human station. Through the chaos, Rex saw something that would haunt him forever. The human station wasn't just a fortress. It was a graveyard. Thousands of alien ships hung motionless around it, their crews still alive but trapped in some kind of temporal field. They had been there for decades, maybe centuries, serving as a warning to anyone foolish enough to test humanity's borders. The last thing Rex remembered was the human commander's voice, speaking directly into his mind. "You will join the others. You will serve as a reminder that humanity's borders are not suggestions, they are absolute law. Your species will spread the word. The galaxy ends where we say it ends." As consciousness faded, Rex understood the terrible truth. Humanity hadn't just claimed territory. They had claimed dominion over the laws of physics themselves. The galaxy's most advanced races were children compared to what humans had become. The Void Seeker took its place among the floating graveyard of vessels, its crew trapped in endless time, serving as living proof that some borders should never be crossed. Back on the bridge of Border Station Alpha, The human commander turned to her aide. Send word to the council. Another lesson has been taught. Perhaps now they'll understand that our warning isn't a request. It's a fact of nature. The aide nodded, making notes on his tablet. Should we release the survivors to spread the message? One ship, as always. Let them carry the word back to their people. The galaxy's map ends where humanity begins, and crossing that line means joining our collection permanently. The Council's desperation. The great assembly hall of the Galactic Council buzzed with tension as delegates from across the galaxy gathered for the emergency session. Ambassador Kell of the Arcturus Federation stood at the center podium, her tentacles writhing with barely contained fear. Honored delegates, she began, her voice echoing through the vast chamber. We face an unprecedented crisis. Humanity's borders have expanded again. A wave of shocked murmurs rippled through the assembled representatives. Chancellor Moore, a reptilian being from the core worlds, rose from his seat. Impossible. The Treaty of Vega specifically states that no species may claim more than one sector of space. The Treaty of Vega means nothing to them, Kell replied bitterly. They've absorbed 3 more systems in the past month. Our deep space monitoring stations simply vanished. No distress signals, no debris, nothing. Elder Zin, the ancient leader of the Hive Collective, spoke with his mind voice that reached every delegate simultaneously. The humans have not communicated with us for 50 cycles. They ignore our messages, our diplomatic envoys, our trade offers. They exist in their territory like a cancer, growing stronger while we grow weaker. Trade Minister Pax slammed his fist on his desk, causing several smaller delegates to jump. Our economy is collapsing. The shipping lanes they've blocked contained 40% of our trade routes. Colonies are starving, and our military cannot protect them because we're too afraid to enter human space. Afraid. General Hex stood up, his warrior's pride evident in every movement. We are the Galactic Council. We command fleets that could sterilize 100 worlds. We bow to no one. Then why haven't you attacked them? Kell challenged. Your own reports show that every military expedition sent toward human space has disappeared. 500 ships, gone without a trace. The general's confidence wavered. They must have some new weapon. Something we haven't encountered before. It's not a weapon, whispered Dr. Vale, the Council's chief scientist. It's worse than that. Our quantum physicists have been studying the energy readings from their borders. They're not just using advanced technology. They're rewriting the fundamental laws of reality. The assembly fell silent. Even the usually noisy buzzfolk stopped their constant chattering. What do you mean? Chancellor Moore demanded. Dr. Vale's hands shook as she activated her holographic display. Gravity doesn't work properly near their borders. Time flows differently. Light bends in impossible ways. They've somehow learned to manipulate the basic forces of the universe itself. That's impossible, Pax protested. No species has ever achieved such mastery over physics. No species except humanity, Dr. Vale corrected. And we have no idea how they did it. Our best theories suggest they've had help from outside our reality. The implication sent a chill through the chamber. If humanity had allies from other dimensions, other universes, then the galaxy truly was at their mercy. Ambassador Kell cleared her throat. There is one option we haven't discussed. Total surrender. The word hung in the air like a death sentence. Never in the history of the Galactic Council had any species been forced to consider such a thing. We could offer them anything they want, Kell continued. Resources, technology, entire worlds. Anything to stop their expansion. And if they refuse? Elder Zin asked. Then we face extinction, she replied simply. General Hex's military pride flared again. We could unite every species in the galaxy. Billions of ships, trillions of soldiers. They cannot stand against the entire galaxy. Can't they? Dr. Vale pulled up another display. We've detected energy signatures from their territory that rival stellar outputs. They've built something in there, something that generates power on a scale we can't comprehend. What kind of beings are they? Whispered a small delegate from the outer rim. How did they become so powerful so quickly? Chancellor Moore stood slowly, his age showing in every movement. Perhaps the real question is, what do they want? If they desired conquest, they could have taken the entire galaxy by now. Instead, they remain behind their borders, growing stronger while we grow weaker. Maybe they're waiting, Kell suggested, building their strength for a final assault. Or maybe, Dr. Vale said quietly, they're protecting us from something worse, something that even they fear. The assembly erupted in arguments and debates, but no one had any real answers. Humanity remained a mystery, a force of nature that had claimed its place in the galaxy and dared anyone to challenge it. As the session continued deep into the night, one truth became clear. The galaxy's fate now rested in human hands, and no one knew whether those hands would show mercy or deliver judgment. The trespasser's fate. Captain Yev had built his reputation on taking impossible jobs. His crew of pirates and smugglers had raided core world convoys, outrun Imperial fleets, and stolen from the Council's own treasury. But this job was different. This job would either make him the richest being in the galaxy or get him killed in ways he couldn't imagine. The contract was simple: sneak into human space, steal any piece of their technology, and return with proof of their capabilities. The anonymous client had offered enough credits to buy his own planet, and Yev had never been one to back down from a challenge. "Captain," his pilot Max called from the cockpit, "we're approaching the border." Sensors show nothing but empty space ahead. Yev grinned, showing his sharp teeth. "That's what they want us to think. Engage the stealth systems and take us in slowly." The small ship Nightcrawler had been modified with the best cloaking technology money could buy. According to the manufacturers, it could slip past any sensor array in the galaxy. Of course, none of them had ever tested it against human detection systems. As they crossed the invisible line marking humanity's border, space itself seemed to hold its breath. The stars looked different here, more intense somehow, as if they were being observed by invisible eyes. "Captain," Max's voice carried a note of worry. "The navigation computer is acting strange. It keeps showing destinations that don't exist on any star chart." "Ignore it," Yev ordered, though he felt a chill run down his spine. "Find us the nearest human outpost." They flew for hours through seemingly empty space, passing star systems that shouldn't exist according to galactic surveys. Some suns burned with impossible colors, while others seemed to pulse with mechanical regularity. "There," Max pointed ahead. "A space station. It's huge." The structure that materialized before them defied description. It was part space station, part city, part something that hurt to look at directly. Geometric shapes that should have been impossible connected at angles that made no sense, stretching into dimensions that human mathematics couldn't explain. "Take us closer," Yev commanded, despite every instinct screaming at him to flee. As they approached, the ship's sensors began picking up signs of life. Not just human life, thousands of different species, all living and working together in harmony. Aliens from across the galaxy that had supposedly been disappeared by humanity. "Captain," Max whispered, "they're not prisoners. They're building something." Through the viewports, they could see massive construction projects that spanned entire solar systems. Dyson spheres around stars, rain worlds the size of planets, and structures that seemed to bend space itself into new configurations. "By the void," Yev breathed. "They're not conquering the galaxy. They're rebuilding it." That's when the voice came, speaking directly into their minds with gentle authority. "You are welcome here, but you must choose. Stay and join us in our work, or leave and never return." The ship's instruments went haywire as reality shifted around them. Suddenly, they were no longer outside the station, but inside it, surrounded by beings from every corner of the galaxy. Humans worked alongside aliens, their faces filled with purpose and joy. A human woman approached their ship, her eyes holding depths of knowledge that seemed infinite. "I'm Commander Lee," she said as the airlock opened automatically. "You're not the first to come here seeking to steal our secrets." Yev stepped out cautiously, his weapon ready. "What have you done to all these people?" "We've given them a choice," Lee replied simply. "The same choice we're giving you. Join us in preparing for what's coming, or return to your galaxy and pretend you never saw this." "Preparing for what?" Lee gestured to a massive display, showing the galaxy from a perspective that shouldn't have been possible. Beyond the galactic rim, something vast and dark was moving toward them. The Devourers. They consume entire galaxies, leaving nothing but empty space. "They'll reach us in 50 years. "That's impossible," Yev protested. "The Council's deep space sensors would have detected them." "The Council's sensors can barely detect their own ships," Lee said with a sad smile. "We've been preparing for this threat for 2 centuries. Every species we've captured has been given the truth and the choice to help. And if they refuse, then we erase their memories and send them home. We cannot force anyone to face the truth they're not ready for." Yev looked around at the bustling activity, at species that had been at war for millennia, now working together with humans toward a common goal. "What makes you think you can stop something that destroys entire galaxies?" "Because," Lee said, her eyes blazing with determination, "we're not just human anymore. We're everything the galaxy has to offer, united and enhanced. We've learned to manipulate reality itself, to bend the laws of physics to our will. We've become something new." She gestured to the construction projects visible through the station's transparent walls. "Every ship that disappears in our space adds to our strength. Every species that joins us brings new knowledge and capabilities. We're not conquering the galaxy. We're saving it." The truth revealed. The revelation hit Yev like a physical blow. Everything the galaxy believed about humanity was wrong. They weren't conquerors or isolationists. They were guardians, preparing for a threat that would destroy everything. "You're lying," he said, but his voice lacked conviction. The evidence was all around him. Aliens working willingly with humans, massive defensive structures being built, and technology that seemed to bend reality itself. "I wish I were," Commander Lee replied. "Tom, show him the records." A younger human stepped forward, his fingers dancing over a control panel that seemed to respond to his thoughts. The air shimmered, and suddenly Yev was standing in the middle of a holographic recording. The scene showed a galaxy far from their own, its stars arranged in unfamiliar patterns. It was beautiful, filled with advanced civilizations and wonders beyond imagination. Then the darkness came. The Devourers weren't ships or armies in any conventional sense. They were tears in reality itself, wombs in the fabric of space-time that consumed everything they touched. Stars were snuffed out like candles, planets dissolved into nothingness, and entire species vanished as if they had never existed. "This galaxy died 3,000 years ago," Tom explained as the recording continued. "The Devourers move slowly, but they're unstoppable. They've consumed millions of galaxies, and ours is next on their path." Yev watched in horror as the last remnants of that doomed galaxy made their final stand. Their technology was far beyond anything the current galaxy possessed, yet they fell in moments before the advancing void. "How do you know this?" Yev demanded. "How did you get these records?" Lee gestured to another human, an elderly man with scars covering half his face. "This is Dr. Kane. He's not from our galaxy originally." The scared man nodded grimly. "I'm one of the last survivors of the Andromeda Collective. We managed to escape through a dimensional rift just before our galaxy was consumed. I've been here for 50 years, helping humanity prepare for what's coming." "But why humanity?" Yev asked. "Why not approach the Council directly?" "We tried," Dr. Kane said bitterly. "We sent ambassadors, shared our knowledge, warned them of the threat. They laughed at us, called us mad refugees making up stories to gain asylum. The Council was too proud to listen," Lee added. They couldn't accept that there was a threat they couldn't fight with conventional weapons. So we went to the one species that had shown they could adapt quickly to new situations. Humanity, Yev whispered. Exactly. Your species had just begun exploring space when we made contact. You were young, flexible, and desperate enough to listen. Most importantly, you had something the other species lacked. What? You had survived global nuclear war and rebuilt your civilization. You understood that sometimes survival requires impossible choices and total unity. A holographic display changed, showing Earth as it had been after the nuclear exchange. Devastated cities, poisoned landscapes, and a population reduced to mere millions. Yet from that ashes, humanity had emerged stronger and more united than ever. We offered your species a choice, Dr. Kane continued. We could share our knowledge, help you build defenses against the coming threat, but it would require sacrifices. You would have to isolate yourselves, prepare in secret, and let the galaxy believe you were the enemy. Why the secrecy? Because preparation requires resources, Lee explained. Every species that disappears in our space isn't destroyed. They're recruited. We show them the truth, give them the choice to help, and those who accept join our cause. And those who refuse, we erase their memories and send them home. We cannot risk panic spreading through the galaxy before we're ready. Yev felt a chill as he realized the implications. You've been kidnapping entire fleets, entire populations. We've been saving them, Lee corrected firmly. Every being that joins us increases our chances of survival. Every ship that becomes part of our fleet is another weapon against the void. The trade routes you've blocked, the territories you've claimed, all necessary for our preparations. We needed resources, space to build, and time to develop our defenses. The galaxy's fear of us has given us that time. Tom manipulated the display again, showing their current galaxy with a timeline overlay. The Devourers will reach our galactic rim in 47 years. By then, we need to have transformed this entire galaxy into a fortress. Transformed how? Look around you, Lee said, gesturing to the impossible architecture surrounding them. We've learned to manipulate reality itself. Every star in our territory has been modified to serve as a weapon. Every planet has been turned into a production facility. Every space station exists in multiple dimensions simultaneously. The beings who've joined us have been enhanced beyond their natural limitations. We've combined the best traits of every species, the Hive Collective's group consciousness, the warrior clan's combat instincts, the builder's engineering expertise, and humanity's adaptability. The final choice. Yev stared at the transformed beings working around him. They moved with purpose and efficiency that seemed almost supernatural. Former enemies worked side by side, their natural conflicts dissolved in the face of a greater threat. This is madness, he said, but his voice was weak. You're talking about transforming the entire galaxy. We're talking about saving it, Commander Lee replied. The Devourers don't negotiate, they don't retreat, and they don't show mercy. They are entropy itself, seeking to return all existence to primordial void. Dr. Kane stepped forward, his scared face grave. I watched my galaxy die, Captain. I saw species that had existed for millions of years vanish in seconds. I will not let that happen again. Show him the weapon, Lee said to Tom. The young human nodded, and the holographic display shifted again. This time it showed the galaxy from an impossible perspective, as if viewed from outside reality itself. Yev could see the network of modified stars, each one pulsing with contained energy. Lines of force connected them, turning the entire galaxy into a single massive weapon. We call it the Galactic Defense Grid, Tom explained. Every star in our territory has been converted into a dimensional anchor. When the Devourers arrive, we'll use the grid to lock reality in place, preventing them from creating their tiers in spacetime. That's impossible, Yev protested. The energy requirements alone would require the cooperation of every species in the galaxy. Lee finished, which is why we need to move to the next phase of our plan. What next phase? Full disclosure, we're going to reveal ourselves to the Galactic Council and make them an offer they can't refuse. Join us willingly or be conscripted into service. Yev felt his blood chill. You're talking about conquest. We're talking about survival, Dr. Kane corrected. The calculations are simple. If we don't have at least 70% of the galaxy's population and resources under our control by the time the Devourers arrive, we lose. Everyone dies. The Council will never surrender voluntarily. Then we'll make the choice for them, Lee said with finality. Every day we delay costs lives. Every species that refuses to join us weakens our defenses. You're becoming the very thing you claim to fight against. No, a new voice said. Yev turned to see a figure that made his mind reel. It was humanoid, but somehow more than human, with eyes that seemed to hold the wisdom of stars and skin that shifted between dimensions. I am what humanity has become, the figure said. I am the synthesis of 10,000 species, the combined knowledge of 1,000,000 worlds. I am what we must all become to survive. The transformation is voluntary, Lee assured him quickly. Those who join us retain their individuality, their memories, their personalities. They simply gain access to the collective knowledge and abilities of the group. And those who refuse will be protected whether they like it or not, the transformed being said. We cannot force evolution, but we can ensure survival. Tom activated another display, showing fleet movements throughout the galaxy. The operation begins tomorrow. We're going to every major population center simultaneously. No warnings, no negotiations, no time for panic to spread. You're talking about enslaving trillions of beings. We're talking about saving them, Lee said firmly. The Devourers are coming whether the galaxy accepts it or not. We can face them united, or we can face them as scattered, terrified refugees. The choice is simple. What about free will? What about the right to choose? The right to choose ends when that choice affects everyone's survival, the transformed being replied. A single species' refusal to cooperate could doom the entire galaxy. Yev looked around at the bustling activity, at the impossible technology, at the beings who had willingly given up their old lives for this cause. He thought about his crew, about the life of piracy and freedom he'd built, about the galaxy he'd grown up in. What happens to me now? He asked. That depends on you, Lee said. You can join us willingly, undergo the transformation, and help save the galaxy. You can remain unchanged, but work with us in whatever capacity you're comfortable with. Or you can have your memories erased and wake up in your ship outside our borders, with nothing but the vague feeling that you should avoid human space, Tom finished. But choose quickly, the transformed being added. Tomorrow, the galaxy changes forever. The age of preparation ends, and the age of transformation begins. Yev closed his eyes, feeling the weight of the decision. Everything he'd believed about humanity, about the galaxy, about reality itself had been shattered. In its place was a terrible truth. Survival sometimes required becoming something new, something greater than what you were before. When you put it that way, he said finally, is there really any choice at all?